Look at that. I don't know if you could see it. It's another rocket launch. That's what it seems like. They've been doing them a lot. Vandenberg Air Force Base. Been seeing Elon Musk's crap. All kinds of stuff being launched. I'm gonna wait a few before I really talk, because I actually wanna and hope to hang out with people if they show up. But just talk about whatever for now. I just finished welding class, and it was pretty difficult. Ended up with 3 certifications when I was hoping for more like 7. And one of those certifications kind of almost failed, but thanks to the leniency of the teacher, passed. The daunting task of looking for a job, which is literally my least favorite thing to do on the planet. But I have 2 jobs, so I'm not in a rush. But I am applying places. I just hate the idea. It's a pitiful idea of having to sell yourself, because that's literally what it is. That's what a resume is. That's what an interview is. That's what applications are. You're like, my body is for sale for your time. It's actually a really disgusting, almost prostitute-like idea, if you really think about it. I don't know if anyone's gonna show up. But yeah, let me start with the least interesting topic, Lebanon, since I don't think anyone really cares, but I care, because this is some kind of psyop, like they always are. The whole dangling war on a stick with a carrot has been an ongoing process for years, and has played out in many forms, a lot of which were real, but a lot of which were just to conjure up fear as well. And I'm just reading some of these articles, and they're sickening to me. Like, U.S. diplomats are doing what they can to avert imminent war with Hezbollah. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're not doing anything. If anything, they want it. Oh, those arms sales. Oh, gosh. Man, you imagine the billions that would be made. Unfortunately, though, is that this one has more potential to spiral out of control. Because Iran, even though they had shown incredible restraint, I think this is one of the situations in which Iran will actually not show restraint. So, could be pointing to July for a world war. Very real potential. I have worked in a... Hey, Steve, what's happening? Glad you're here. Yeah, I hate it too. I hate the process. I hate the... it's all, yeah, it's stupid. I hate it. But it's how the world works, right? Just all pretending like we're not enslaved. Eh, like calling ourselves employees. Oh, not slaves, employees. Anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about Flight 901. Um, this was a really strange airplane crash, and it was kind of weird how I found it. Um, it was kind of an unusual thing. I was browsing Reddit, and I see this like old vintage footage of someone shooting film out of an airplane into like an icy landscape below. And I like read about this incident, and I'm like, Flight 901 air disaster, New Zealand's largest air disaster in history. And so I looked into it, and this plane in 1979 crashed in Antarctica. A massive plane crash in Antarctica. Now, obviously, to give the benefit of the doubt, there's been quite a lot of plane crashes. We can't remember them all. But this was one of the worst in aviation history, with about 300 people dead. And something that would have crashed in Antarctica would be inside of my memory. And I used to be really into plane crashes. I used to be really into plane crashes, actually, like when I was probably in my teens. I had an abnormal fascination with plane crashes. And I have not once even remotely heard of any such incident. So it's technically called the Mount Erebus disaster. So it crashed in the mountain in Antarctica. And there's rare film footage of this happening, of the interior of the plane and the outside. So the whole thing was just highly unusual to me. And I've talked to a couple of people who actually agree that this is a strange one. Azazel, where is Azazel? I don't. Remind me who Azazel is. Is it one of the angels? Yeah. But anyway, a couple more things. Two undead people really bothered me today. I had a friend send me a link that it was Mel Brooks's birthday today. Mel Brooks's birthday. Mel Brooks, who died multiple times. When I say multiple, I mean multiple. We're talking, the first time I remember hearing about him dying was probably 20 years ago. 20 years ago, a very long time ago. And then the second time I heard about him dying was maybe 4 years ago. So this is probably the third time where he's undead. And we're like his birthday, so I mean, I had to look it up. Is he really alive? And he's like, and no, I'm not mistaking him for Gene Wilder. And I'm not mistaking George Soros being alive for Henry Kissinger. Because I remember George Soros dying really recently. I'm talking like 6 months ago. George Soros was a dead man. Planes crashed into a mountain. He probably caused it. Oh, okay. So we have two. Bob Barker was another one that came back to life that we talked about on this channel before. But This is George Soros, 98 years old, I believe. And Mel Brooks, 93 years old. And I just wanted to ask if anyone, please give me a sign. Do you remember either of them dying before? I need to know. It's been about 10 minutes or so. It doesn't look like anyone wants to hang out or talk, really. Um, but I'll give it another couple of minutes, I guess. Um, Another strange synchronicity with Jennifer Love Hewitt, this actress from the 90s, who I just kind of accidentally stumble upon on my feed, and know nothing about her for years. Haven't heard a damn thing about her for years. And the first video that shows up, she's saying like this bizarre thing that didn't make sense to me. And I'm looking at it and she's like 9/11 on Thursday. She just kept saying 9/11 on Thursday. I'm like, 9/11 on Thursday? And it turns out that she's in a show called 9/11, which I suppose will be broadcast on Thursday. But I'm kind of wondering, is that some kind of alternate message there as well for those who know about my 9/11 666 stuff? Because that was the last thing I expected to hear. 9/11 on Thursday. Okay? Ridiculous. Ridiculous, absurd synchronicities. Remember, Mel Brooks died last year. Yeah, it was last year. It was a few years ago for me, but again, I distinctly remember him dying when I was a kid as well. I just really wanted to make that clear. Like, he was like in his 70s or 60s even. The first time he died. Absolutely ridiculous. Absurd. Yeah. All right. Well, usually people show up. I mean, they have in the past, but I guess I'll just let it go. I'll see you later, Steve.